We live in a time where most 3D Western animation has largely begun to look and feel the same. Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Illumination and Sony have become homogeneous in terms of visual style, to the point where it can be hard to distinguish which studio has done which movie. Enter a dark horse candidate, Laika. Laika is known in the animation world for their innovative yet disturbing stop-motion movies. But what exactly is Laika, and who runs it? Laika is a stop-motion studio located in Hillsboro, Oregon. They're most famous for their debut feature film Coraline, which was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Since then, they've released Paranorman, The Box Trolls, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Missing Link. While their films have varied in terms of plot and setting, they all deal with dark and adult themes such as death, dismemberment, and abuse. Sounds pretty cheerful for films meant for kids, right? Well, Laika's backstory is not exactly that cheerful to begin with. But let's start at the beginning. Laika was established by animator and filmmaker Will Vinton. He created Will Vinton Studios and was once heralded as the claymation king. Fun fact, he also was the first to coin the term claymation. For decades, Will created both film and commercial claymations, garnering an Oscar win as well as several nominations. The 80s and 90s saw the rise of computer-generated graphics, or CGI. Will Vinton Studios was still making financially successful claymations and was expanding their CGI department. Due to their rapid growth, they needed more money to sustain their company, which caught Nike's attention. Yep, that Nike. Nike co-founder Phil Knight saw the studio's potential and agreed to invest in it. He only had one request before investing in it. Would Will Vinton give Phil Knight's son, Travis, an internship? Will Vinton agreed. This turned out to be a serious mistake in hindsight. Travis Knight had tried and failed to become a rapper. His rap name? Chili T. Yes, he was basically like all the other white boys out there trying to become a SoundCloud rapper before SoundCloud was even a thing. The only difference is that he has a billionaire dad. Phil Knight was deeply invested in making sure his son was successful at whatever he did. When Travis wanted to become a rapper, Phil Knight financially invested in it. Will Vinton Studios seemed like an opportune spot to give his son a different but successful career. When Travis was given the internship at Will Vinton Studios, he started from the bottom doing mundane cleanup work, but proved to be a talented animator and rose through the ranks. However, due to bad business decisions and mass layoffs, Will Vinton Studios later came to Phil Knight again and asked for more money. Phil Knight was determined to not let his money go to waste and became a controlling owner of the company in 2003, appointing his son to the board of directors. Months later, Will Vinton was forced out of his own company. As a final punch in the gut, Phil Knight took legal control of Will Vinton's lifelong body of work as well as the trademark rights of claymation. Major ouch. Will Vinton saw his dismissal as being unfair and filed a lawsuit against Phil Knight and the board of directors for $3.1 million, alleging that he was unfairly forced out of the company. He also sued over the ownership of his name. The lawsuit was later dismissed, but Will Vinton won ownership of his name and started a production company named Will Vinton's Free Will Entertainment. Interesting naming choice, eh? Phil Knight rebranded the studio to Laika, dedicating the name to the space dog. In 2005, Henry Selick, the famed director of The Nightmare Before Christmas, joined Laika. He was Travis Knight's animation hero and consequently was sought after by Phil Knight. He wrote and directed Coraline, which was released in 2009. Coraline was based on the Neil Gaiman book of the same name and was a huge success. Coraline is a dark fantasy film about a girl who stumbles upon a parallel universe and discovers its hidden horrors. It cost $60 million to make and earned over $120 million at the box office. To date, it is still Laika's most financially successful movie. It was nominated for an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and won big at the Annie Awards. Unfortunately, after unsuccessful contract negotiations, Henry Selick left Laika that same year. Laika followed up Coraline with Paranorman. Paranorman dealt with similar themes as Coraline, with it being centered around a lonely misfit kid who dealt with supernatural phenomena. Paranorman gained positive reviews and was a modest hit at the box office, gaining $100 million compared to a $60 million budget. While a $40 million profit at first glance may seem like a hit, Hollywood budgets don't account for advertising expenses. It's not uncommon for a movie's budget to be the same as its advertising budget. If a movie takes $80 million to make, its advertising budget could also be $80 million. This means a movie would have to make twice its budget in order to receive any return. Suddenly, Laika's movies are not looking so great in terms of box office numbers. The Box Trolls came and went and was also a modest success. Then finally, Travis Knight, hey remember him, made his directorial debut with Kubo and the Two Strings. Kubo garnered 2 Oscar nominations for Best Animated Feature and Best VFX. Unfortunately, but predictably, it lost to 2 Disney films. It also did not do well at the box office, even though visually it's Laika's most spectacular movie. Each subsequent Laika film has made less and less money at the box office. Laika's latest film, Missing Link, was a huge box office bomb. It only made $20 million against an overinflated $100 million budget. If only they had found the missing link to making financially successful films. Due to this, it's hard to predict Laika's future. While they make amazingly crafted films that are critically acclaimed, their box office numbers are disappointing. If Laika wasn't owned by an actual billionaire, it would have closed long ago. In recent years, Travis Knight has since shifted his interests to directing live-action films. He directed Bumblebee, a live-action Transformers spin-off film, and is currently attached to direct an adaptation of $6 Million Man starring Mark Wahlberg. How nice! Chili T and Marky Mark are teaming up. Laika is in a very unique position, as it's entirely dependent on its billionaire owner's interests to keep it afloat. However, Travis Knight has recently stated that he remains committed to Laika. Moral of the story? If you own a struggling animation studio, you probably shouldn't ask a billionaire to invest in it, or else your future boss might be named Chili T.